You're mid-sentence telling someone about your day, and then you notice it. Their face has gone still. No nod, no flicker in the eyes, just a blank, unmoving stare back at you. Something in your chest tightens immediately. Your voice trails off. You start talking faster or louder, or you crack a joke that isn't funny just to get some kind of reaction. Anything. A flinch, a raised eyebrow, proof that you're still being seen. You probably think this is just social awkwardness, a minor discomfort, easily explained by manners or ego. But here's the strange part. What you just felt has almost nothing to do with etiquette. It's one of the oldest alarm systems in your body, and it was built before you could even talk. Think about the last time someone left you on red, or didn't laugh at something you said, or scrolled their phone while you were mid-story. That prickling unease wasn't really about politeness at all. It was your nervous system running a script that started forming in your first few months of life and never fully switched off. In 1975, a developmental psychologist named Edward Tronick ran an experiment that would end up defining an entire field. He sat mothers face to face with their infants. First, they interacted normally, smiling, cooing, mirroring each other's expressions in that easy back-and-forth rhythm you've probably seen between any parent and baby. Then Tronick asked the mothers to do something deceptively simple. Keep looking at your baby, but stop reacting, no smiling, no response, just a still, blank face. What happened next became known as the still face experiment, and if you've never seen the footage, it's almost unbearable to watch. Within seconds, the baby notices. It smiles wider, trying to coax a reaction. It points, it reaches out, it makes sounds, almost like it's asking, "Are you there?" When nothing comes back, the baby escalates. It squirms, it cries, it looks away, then looks back, testing again and again, as if the blank face might have been a mistake the first time. Within 2 minutes, most infants in the study showed visible signs of distress, increased heart rate, cortisol spikes, a kind of quiet panic that looks remarkably similar to what adults feel in a much smaller, much more disguised way when someone we're talking to simply stops responding. Here's the detail that should genuinely surprise you. This wasn't really about love or attachment or whether the mother still cared. The baby knew, on some level, that nothing had changed about the relationship. What broke the baby wasn't rejection. It was the absence of response itself. Psychologist Colwyn Trevarthen, who spent decades studying early communication, described this back and forth as something almost musical. He called it a kind of duet between infant and caregiver, built entirely on tiny, split-second reactions. A widened eye here, a slight head tilt there. When that duet stops, even briefly, the whole system that a baby uses to understand its place in the world goes quiet with it. Your brain never stopped needing that duet. It just got quieter about asking for it. Think about how much of your daily communication depends on these tiny reactive signals. A nod while you're speaking, a laugh at the right beat, someone's eyebrows lifting slightly when you say something surprising. You don't consciously track any of this. But if it disappears, you notice instantly, the same way that infant noticed within seconds. Researcher Beatrice Beebe, who studies mother-infant interaction down to the level of milliseconds, found that these responses happen so fast, tens to hundreds of milliseconds, that no adult could consciously control them even if they tried. Which means the panic you feel when someone goes blank isn't an overreaction. It's your nervous system detecting the absence of something it was built to expect automatically, faster than thought. So why would evolution wire something this sensitive into you? Because for most of human history, being unseen by your group wasn't a minor social slight. It was potentially fatal. A human infant is one of the most helpless creatures on the planet at birth. It can't walk, can't feed itself, can't defend itself for years. Its only strategy for survival is keeping a caregiver engaged and responsive. A blank face wasn't just uncomfortable, it was a signal that the connection keeping you alive might be gone. That signal didn't get deleted as you grew up. It just got attached to new situations. A boss who doesn't react to your idea in a meeting. A friend who goes quiet mid-conversation. A message that sits there, delivered, unanswered. The little check mark just staring back at you. Different context, same ancient alarm. Anthropologists studying small-scale hunter-gatherer societies have noted something that reinforces this. In many of these groups, one of the harshest social punishments isn't shouting or violence. It's being ignored, simply not responded to, not acknowledged in conversation. Psychologists call this social ostracism, and across culture after culture, it triggers activity in the same brain regions associated with physical pain. Being unseen doesn't just feel bad, your brain processes it almost like an injury, which reframes something you've probably experienced but never quite named. That specific ache when someone repeatedly doesn't respond to you at work, in a friendship, in a relationship. You're not imagining that it hurts. You're not being overly sensitive. You're running the exact same circuitry that made an infant cry within 2 minutes of a blank face, just quieter, more disguised, dressed up in adult language like, "That felt weird," or, "I don't know, they seemed distant." Here's where it gets more interesting. Tronic's later research found that the still face itself wasn't actually the most important part of the experiment. What mattered more was what happened next. When mothers resumed normal interaction, smiling again, responding again, most babies recovered quickly. Some even seemed to bounce back stronger, more securely attached than before the disruption. Tronic called this process repair, and he argued that repair, not perfect constant attunement, is what actually builds resilience. It's not that you need someone to respond to you flawlessly every single second. It's that when the connection breaks, even briefly, it needs to come back. Think about what that means for your own relationships right now. The moments that damage you aren't usually the disagreements or the disruptions themselves. It's disruptions that never repair. A friendship that goes cold and stays cold. A parent who checked out and never checked back in. A partner who stops responding and leaves you in that blank-faced state indefinitely, with no return signal telling your nervous system the connection is safe again. Your body still runs the same test that baby ran. It reaches out, it escalates, it tries again. And if nothing comes back, eventually it stops trying and something in you goes quiet in a way that isn't peace. It's a kind of shutdown. The same protective withdrawal researchers observed in infants who experienced prolonged unresponsiveness. Not resolution, just conservation of energy, because the system finally accepted that no signal was coming. This is also, strangely, why the smallest gestures can feel disproportionately powerful. A quick reply, a genuine laugh, someone's face actually shifting when you tell them something. These aren't polite formalities. They're the exact currency your nervous system has been trading in since before you had words for any of it. When you give someone real, visible reaction, you're not just being kind. You're closing a loop that runs all the way back to that face-to-face duet between infant and caregiver. So the next time you feel that small flicker of panic when someone's face goes flat mid-conversation, or when a message sits unanswered longer than it should, you don't have to explain it away as insecurity. It's not a flaw in your personality. It's a system that once determined whether you survived, still quietly checking, decades later, whether anyone out there is responding to you at all. And maybe that changes how you show up for the people around you too. Because somewhere across the table, or the group chat, or the meeting room, someone else's nervous system is running the exact same ancient test, waiting, just like you once did in the first months of your life, for proof that they're still being seen.